Hi, this is Elena with Black Sheep 303 Creative, and my project today is a pop-up box card with a Mother's Day bouquet. I thought it was time that I reprised one of these projects from last year because I just love them so much. But this time I'm using the Funky Florals 1 die set from Tim Holtz, and so I have die cut all of them out, and I'm going to go through all of them here kind of quickly. Now that top row is all leaves that I just am going to use as they're on their own, except for that one there, the dark green, which is Gina K Design's Christmas Pine. I'm using that as a stem on that. I'm calling it a cone flower, although I don't think the colors are right on that. Now I did add some marker to some of these. So this is PP5 that I used on that pink flower. And then I took one of the centers from that lovely lavender, and then the little tiny center with my wild lilac here, which is the dark purple. And I'm layering them together to create that pink flower that you see kind of on the right side. So I've got them not put together and then put together for your benefit. And then for the leaf, I colored the veins with my DG2 Illustrator marker from Spectrum Noir and glued those together. The little tiny flower I cut out of Wild Lilac and Dusty Rose. That leaf, I colored the veins with my DG4 Illustrator Spectrum Noir marker and then glued those together. This little guy I actually don't wind up using, but you can see there are a lot of different pieces that cut out with that. So I did color like the bud with the OR1 and then the leaf and the little, I don't know, spray at the top with my DG2 and layered those together, although I don't wind up using that. For this white one, it cuts out like 2 centers in the flower, and I layered together one of the pink centers from up there and then one of the white centers to create that flower. So you can see like each one cuts out like the flower and at least 1 center, if not 2. But to kind of mix them up, I switched between the various colored cardstock to make them look interesting. I added veins on this one with my CT4 Spectrum Noir marker. And then I added one of the white centers, kind of like the spray little center, and then the orange center from my sweet mango flower that's just below it. This purple one, I used PL4 to add some shading to the petals, Spectrum Noir marker. And then I took the other orange center, and added that to the middle of that guy. On the little cone flower down there on the lower left, you can see that's got like the sort of pointy part that's smaller, and then the lower petals. I colored the pointy part with my TN8 marker, glued those together, and then added that Christmas Pine leaf as the stem. On my orange flower here, this is Sweet Mango cardstock from Gina K Designs. You can see it cuts 2 centers and the flower. And so I colored the petals a little bit with my CR10 Spectrum Noir marker, and then I took the yellow center from that flower above it to add the center to that, and I dotted the center a little bit with some CT4. My lavender piece there cuts 2 centers and a flower, and I took that small dark purple flower from the other die and added that as a center. This is just one die that cuts out one piece, and then this guy cuts out like branches with flowers on them, and then it cuts all the extra flowers too that you could layer on top. So what I wanted to do was coloring the branch parts with the TN8. So I cut that out of white, and then I also cut it out of lovely lavender. I did not use the extra like little flowers that came with that you could layer on top. Now for the box, I'm using the Lawn Fawn Scalloped pop-up box die set, my favorite die set from 2017. And so to assemble this, I am folding along the score marks, both vertically and horizontally. Now I leave one of the back panels, the large panels, not scored, just so that will stand up straight in the back. And so then I'm going to adhere this together by putting Elizabeth Craft Design 6mm clear double-sided adhesive tape on the 2 vertical flaps on the box pieces. And then I'm going to remove the backing off of one, and I'm going to like stick it down to the other box piece, as you'll see here in a second. So you just really need to line up the fold on the small flap with the edge of the box. And I find it's easier to do it this way, like holding holding it towards me and just make sure that they line up straight across the bottom. And then you're going to add, I don't know what to call these, like, I guess I'm going to call them flaps, although I don't think they're really flaps. They're the components on the interior of the box that are going to hold the flowers in place. So I'm going to put 6mm adhesive on the end flaps on these guys, end flaps on the big flaps, on all 4 ends. And you can see that I folded them, scored those lines with my bone folder. And now we're going to line up these pieces with the horizontal score lines, like so. And it's on that first panel of the box. And I'm going to, for this first one, stick it about 2/3 of the way across that panel, because I'm trying to space them relatively evenly, and then lined up with the horizontal folds. And then the second one is going to go about 1/3 of the way into that panel, again lined up with the horizontal score marks straight. And you want to make sure those are straight, because if you don't get them straight, the box is going to be wonky. Remove the backing off the adhesive on the remaining tabs on those small flaps and then the big flap, and then fold the rest of the box over on top, and that completes the construction of the box. It's really, really easy. Like, once you've done it once, it's really easy to do. Now for my interior decorative panels, I'm using 2 of the pieces from the Softly Spring 6x6 paperback, as you see there. So those are the exterior ones, like the hearts. And then I'm going to use white on one of the panels so I can write a message. And those are part of the die set, like those little panels die cut out using the same die set. They fit. There's a set for the top and a set for the bottom. And I'm using 6mm and 10mm clear double-sided adhesive tape to adhere these down to the box panels. You can see they fit just kind of right inside. And that's all you have to do to add those to the outside. And then I will later add some to the inside. And one more to the back panel just to help the flowers stand out from the green of the box. And now I'm going to start building my bouquet. And I guess my words of advice on this would be that I always start in the back, because you need to have some larger, fairly prominent elements in the back, because you want to be able to see them, because they're going to be layered in front of with more flowers as you go. And they also need to be kind of large to draw focus and not get blocked by all the elements that you're going to put in front on those like panels that run across the middles. So I've started out with the white multi-blossom branch, I guess. Got a purple flower there, and then one of those yellow cone flowers in the back. And now I'm going to add additional elements on the flaps, I guess, that run in front of them to begin layering up this floral arrangement. Another word of advice I would say is that you want to vary the color across the entire arrangement. So you don't want to like clump all your yellow flowers together in one area and then clump your orange flowers together, etc., etc. You want to have like some different sized yellow flowers throughout the bouquet. Same with pink, same with orange. Just keep your colors kind of going across the entire arrangement as you go. Now, I don't really have too many orange flowers, for example, but there are orange elements on the other flowers that help pull that color throughout the arrangement. And that's true across all of the different flowers. So that's what helps keep the arrangement looking interesting and fun, and it keeps your eye moving all the way around the arrangement so you kind of see the whole thing. So it's a bit of a balancing act between your colors and your sizes in order to get like a nice balance. But once you get it, it's really cool and works just beautifully. And you can see I like to use these mini clothespins to hold my flowers down to the flaps or to each other as I go and I use Zig 2E glue pen for this to glue them in place. I find those little mini clothespins come in really handy to hold things in place, because sometimes it's a little tricky to get things adhered onto those flaps that run across the middle or to each other can be a little tough, and those little clothespins worked like a charm. And then I did cut that multi-blossomed branchy flower that I cut out of Lovely Lavender into multiple pieces. You see there on the lower right. And I spread those around across the arrangement. And then that white piece that was a solid die, when I die cut it out originally, I cut that into 3 pieces here. And I'm going to spread those across the arrangement too. And that helps kind of add some continuity to the overall arrangement as well, when you have like similar flowers kind of filling in just a little bit here and there. And you'll see I pulled my cone flower up in the back. I added an orange flower, and I added a little extra greenery to kind of fill in that back and keep it colorful and interesting looking. And it's always fun to like have stuff sort of stick off to the sides, but you do want to bear in mind that stuff can only really stick off to one side on that back panel, because when you close the card, if you have it on both sides, you're going to see the stuff sticking out of the back panel on one side. So just bear that in mind as well. And then taking these little white pieces and adding them to sort of each of the areas kind of helped, again, add some continuity and visual consistency across the entire thing. And I did fill in the little pink flowers with the Tonic Nuvo drops in Dandelion Yellow. Now I cut out Happy Mother's Day from the Words 3 Happy Holidays set from Elizabeth Craft Designs. Oh great, and the landscapers have decided to start landscaping now. I hope that's not too bad on the voiceover. And I'm using Zig 2A glue pen to add those 3 words to the 3 flaps that I've also covered in more of that decorative paper from the Softly Spring paper pack that I showed earlier. And that is the completed project. And you can see I did add some remaining flowers to the very front of the box. So when it's closed like this, so that's how you pull it out of the envelope, you'll see the little flowers on the front, and then it pops open into this cute floral bouquet. And I just love this Scalloped box card pop-up die set. I think it's amazing. And those funky flowers from Tim Holtz are super cool. And just the combination of the colors are so bright and cheery. I think it's really, really fun. And I will probably be making more of those in the future, as always. Here are 2 more projects that I've done with the same die set, or pop-up box card die set, so you can check out those if you're interested. If you like the video, please give me a thumbs up. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, I would love it if you do that as well. And as always, supplies are linked in the video description and over on my blog. Thanks so much, and have an amazing day.